The main reason we went to Cascais, the Lisbon area, is so that we would be as close to Fatima as possible. And so we hired a private tour guide to take us to Fatima. It's a couple hours northeast of Cascais. If you don't know, Fatima, it represents a turning point in our world, a very important turning point. The world in 1917 could have gone one of two ways. Unfortunately, at that point, we picked the wrong way, and I'm going to find out why. In order to understand Fatima, you have to understand what was going on in 1917. Russia was on the brink of civil war, and this is very, very important to the story of Fatima, because civil war broke out on November 7th, 1917. But there I go, getting ahead of myself. Let's back up to the beginning of the story, shall we? First off, let's talk about whether or not a person should really believe what happened in Fatima. The church has investigated the events of Fatima extensively over decades of investigation. The children that testified to the events, at one time, they were actually threatened with death if they did not recount their testimony. And all three of them said, fine, Mother Mary said we were going to go to heaven, so go ahead and kill us. They were found to be very believable. And let me go ahead and give you one other thing. When in Europe, we have found several uncorrupted bodies. Now, what does that mean? An uncorrupted body is basically a saint, a person, and the only way this can happen is with a direct intervention by God. Okay? That's an uncorrupted body. So what happens is a saint gets buried, and then through examination of their life, the church decides, well, maybe this person was a saint, and so they get dug back up. And if their body is found to be uncorrupted, which means their body did not decompose, then very often they get found to be a saint. And many times the body is displayed in a glass casket in a church or a cathedral. We've seen several of these uncorrupted bodies. But the only way this can happen really is with direct interference with the power of God. And Jacinta Marto was dug up, and here's a picture of her uncorrupted body. And let me just give you a couple pictures of that. I'll zoom in on her face a little bit. Let me show you that. Now, that picture was taken in 1935, and Jacinta died in, I think, late 1918. So she had been dead for a good many years and had not decomposed. She was re-entombed, which is not unusual, so in other words, reburied. And they'll probably check on her in another 100 years, and if she's still uncorrupt, then they may do something different with the body. But for now, she's re-entombed in one of the big churches here on the grounds. So here's a picture of Jacinta. She is the younger girl. She was 8 years old at the time of these events, and her older cousin, Lucia. And Lucia actually lived quite a long time, and Mother Mary said that she would live a long time, but she said that she would take Jacinta and Francisco very soon after these events, and she did. They both died of the Spanish flu, and tremendous suffering on both of them, and they were happy to do it because of the blessings that it would bring about in the salvation of souls, which is their whole purpose of these events, was trying to save people from going to hell. So here's the Reader's Digest version of what happened, because I don't want this video to be 2 hours long, so we're gonna kind of skip over a few things. But basically, in 1916, three shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos, Francisco, and Jacinta Marto, reported seeing 3 apparitions of an angel in Valenhos. And then on the 13th of May 1917, in Cova da Era, 6 apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary were reported. And what I want to do is focus on what the Blessed Virgin Mary said to the children, what they passed along, when they did pass information along, because for us, Gail and myself, I have absolutely no problem believing the Blessed Virgin Mary came and visited these 3 children, because the Blessed Virgin Mary has visited many people throughout the centuries, and there's many miraculous events that have taken place thanks to her, and whenever she's about, there's always going to be miracles. In this case is no different at all. The big miracle, the kids asked her at the end of the apparition, she said they told her that people did not believe them, and could she give a sign that everyone would believe. So Mary told the kids that at high noon on October 13th, 1917, that she would perform a miracle that everyone could see. And so she did, and it is now known as the miracle of the sun. Of course, you can Google it and look at it, but somewhere between 70 to 100,000 people, many of them non-believers, many of them atheists, even an atheist newspaper wrote about it at the time and reported on it. And this miracle of the sun went on for over 10 minutes, where the sun was spiraling and getting extremely hot. I should say that it had rained for 24 hours prior to the event, and they were knee-deep in mud. Everybody was soaking wet, and Lucia told everybody to button up. It was still raining at the beginning of it, and she told everybody to take down your umbrellas, and they did, and they witnessed the miracle of the sun, and the sun seemed to hurtle towards the planet. It was throwing spirals in the air, and the heat was intense. Many people who came there to be healed were healed of their maladies. When the sun went back to its normal position in its normal way, like I say, almost 100,000 people saw this. The ground was powder dry, and everyone's clothes was dry. Scientists have said that it would take a bomb of immense proportion in order for that kind of miracle to take place. So that was the miracle of the sun that concluded the visitations of Mary with the children. As a matter of fact, our guide who took us here said that his great-grandmother was there, witnessed these events, and when the sun was heading towards Earth, spinning and everything, everyone in the crowd was truly terrified. So it was quite the event. Many people who had no belief in God whatsoever were converted that day, and Portugal became a very, very fervent Roman Catholic stronghold from then on, still is. So here we are at Jacinta's and Francisco's grave. They're entombed inside the basilica that actually Mother Mary had asked that a church be built at this location. That was one of her requests of the church. And after the investigations, they went ahead and built the church. And as you can see, it's a beautiful church. So, so I really want to just focus on what Mother Mary specifically said to the kids. And the first thing she did was show them a vision of hell so they would understand what's. And so Mother Mary said, "You have seen hell, where the souls of poor sinners go. It is to save them that God wants to establish in the world a devotion to my Immaculate Heart. If you do what I tell you, many souls will be saved and there will be peace." So remember, this is 1916 and early in 1917. And World War I had not ended. It was still very much going on. And so she said, "This war will end, but if men do not refrain from offending God, another more terrible war will begin during the pontificate of Pius XI." Now, first off, she named Pius XI many years before he became Pope. So let's just let you know that, all this is on the up and up. When you see a night that is lit by a strange light, an unknown light, and this occurred on January 28th, 1938, you can look that up, you will know it's a sign from God that gives you that he is about to punish the world with war, with hunger, and by persecution of the church and the Holy Father. She said, "To prevent this, I shall come to the world and ask that Russia be consecrated to my Immaculate Heart." Now, only the Pope of the day could do that. He could declare that Russia be consecrated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And, so you ask, why is this important? "I shall ask that on the first Saturday of every month, communions of reparations be made in atonement for the sins of the world. Now here's the important part. Here's the really important part. If my wishes are fulfilled, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. If not, then Russia will spread its errors throughout the world, bringing new wars and persecutions of the church. The good will be martyred, and the Holy Father will have much to suffer. Certain nations will be annihilated." Well, I'd like to make a couple points. On January 28th, 1938, okay, the light that she was referring to that would show, it's a strange light. So from earlier in the month, I think the 16th to the 26th, there was an aurora borealis that was very notable January of 1938. But on the 28th of January 1938, there was a red light that people mistook for the sky being on fire. Now, normally an aurora borealis is a lot of blues and greens and purples, and it's kind of really pretty. This was a red, bright red light. It looked like the sky was on fire, and it was seen all over Europe as far away as Bermuda. And just by coincidence, shortly after that light, within 30 days, actually, Hitler had launched his attack on Austria and Poland, so World War II had begun. So that's one point. Number two, When Stalin, when he took over at the end of the Russian Civil War in 1924 is when the war ended, but I don't think he consolidated his power until 1928. But he actually slaughtered, starved, killed 20 million Catholics. Now, a lot of times you hear a lot about uh, what the Nazis did to the Jews, but you don't hear a lot about what the Russians did to the Catholics, to the Christians in their country. So I wanted to make those 2 points because, uh, the Pope of the day, when Mary requested that uh, this this be done, uh, you know, and it was Pope Benedict the 15th, could have consecrated Russia to her Immaculate Heart. That would have saved a lot of people. I mean, 40 to 50 million people in World War II died. Well, where do we go from here? Mother Mary said to the kids that she saw the souls falling into hell like snow. Um, she was holding back a angel with a big sword in a vision, a flaming sword, and um, he was yelling, "Repent, repent." These are visions that she showed the kids, and so anyway, then she showed an absolute apocalyptic vision. Uh, Lots of dead people, basically the world destroyed. So it gets pretty dark from here. Um, if you want to find out more, I've included some links to some videos that will take you far deeper into this than I have time to do. Um, but I certainly encourage you to do it. To watch some videos, do some study in Fatima. There is a way out. There is a way that can be avoided. It could be that Pope Francis, who is probably the worst pope ever, he might have done something a couple weeks ago. He did consecrate the Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, which she said at some point in the future, if you don't do it now, some pope will do it. So he did do it a couple weeks ago. A little too late, in my opinion, but you never know. There are two remedies to avoid basically the end of the world, and one of them is consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and the other one is praying the Rosary. Those are the only two remedies, according to Sister Lucia, that are left to the world. And if we don't do it, then what can we say? It's all over but the crying. These people are praying for the saving of souls, and they have gone almost, I don't know, half a mile on their knees, suffering for the redemption of souls. Um, Hope you've enjoyed this video, and look forward to rejoining SV Just Dreaming at our next adventure. Bye.